Alright, it's time to react to some more anime hot takes. These were all submitted by people on my Patreon. If you want to submit one for a future video, my Patreon is patreon.com/ProZD. It's $1 a month. Alright, let's see what bad takes you guys have. Fan service disqualifies anime from being great, except for being great and fan service. No, I don't agree. I think fan service is annoying. Don't generally like it, especially if it's very kind of weird or creepy. But, I will say there are plenty of shows that I still think are great, even despite the fan service. You just kind of like roll your eyes at it and go, okay, yeah, whatever. I think there is a way to do fan service where it's still empowering to the character. I don't want to come off as like a prude who thinks, no, nothing like that, it's all horrible. I just don't like when it, diminishes a character or whatever. But no, so I don't necessarily agree with this. However, I agree that rampant fan service can be very distracting and very irritating. My biggest hot take is that CG in anime isn't that big of a deal. I can agree with you on this. I think, listen, I'm a Love Live fan, so I've been watching Love Live, throughout all of them. And those first seasons of Love Live, the CG dancing is rough. It hasn't aged super well, but there's kind of like a charm to it. Whereas I think the stuff in the new stuff, like Superstar, it looks really good, really good CG dancing, and it's pretty seamless. Yes, obviously you can tell that it's CG at parts, but I think it just blends well with the 2D in a sense that, I don't know, it all comes together really cohesively. Plus, you have shows now like Beastars, which look incredible. Honestly, maybe a little disrespectful to CG artists to be like, oh, all CG in anime is bad. No, I think all animation, if CG is done well, it can look fantastic. And to immediately disregard something, oh, that part's CG. No, CG can look great. Yes, it's distracting, kind of like fan service, I guess. It's distracting if it's bad, but if it's done well, I think CG looks phenomenal. Especially these days, it's getting better and better. Slice of life anime are grossly underrated. Yeah, I mean, I'm 100% with you on that. Slice of life is generally my favorite. The common complaints about slice of life is it's boring, nothing happens. It's just a different vibe, I think some people really want plot-driven stuff. They want something that's all right, next episode, it's a cliffhanger, and this is gonna happen, and this is gonna happen. For me, I think what I'm looking for in my media is emotions. I want to feel emotions, character growth, things like that. To me, that's oftentimes more important than, oh, this is a really addictive, gripping story. With that said, I still love those kinds of shows. And I feel also a lot of people who are younger tend to have a lot of less patience for slice of life. I think I was that way too. When I was younger, I tended to gravitate towards more action-packed or, story-driven stuff. Whereas now, some of it might be kind of like a nostalgia, looking back on your youth. Some of it is just, I'm just more patient now, and I have different tastes now. So, I don't know. I love slice of life. It's my favorite. But I will say, I don't love every slice of life. If I feel like it's just I don't know, a show that doesn't have much substance, it's just cozy and I don't find the character interactions or it very interesting or fulfilling, then even I get bored. I don't want just a cozy show that's nothing, That's a little too much for me, but, to each their own. Haruhi Suzumiya as a character is annoying as fuck. I mean, that's kind of the whole point. It's interesting. So Haruhi is a show that I thought was a slam dunk, but I have shown it to several friends, and I'm realizing, wow, it's really divisive. I'm not going to recommend it to people anymore. I love Haruhi. I think it's great. But I'm not really interested in trying to convince people nowadays that it's great. Because, it's just, I think Haruhi, she's aggressive. She's aggressive and she's mean. That's kind of the show, is that she's very prickly, hard to get along with. She doesn't treat others well. She's actually an extremely flawed character. I find her entertaining despite all that. I tend to like characters who are maybe a little more brash, a little more combative. To me, that can lead to entertaining conflict. So I don't actually mind that. With that said, not everything she does is great. Yeah, so I can understand why people are frustrated with her or are really repelled by her. I mean, my favorite character in the show is Yuki. Yuki's perfect. She's annoying, but that's kind of the point. Because the whole show is about these, her other companions trying to, like, put out the fires, right? If you just get stressed out by that or aggravated by that, then yeah, you're not gonna like Haruhi. And you're not gonna like the show. That's what I've learned. But I tend to like that kind of character. I think she's very funny. Filler episodes are perfectly fine because they give a show space to rest and explore character dynamics and personalities. Only if it's written well. Unfortunately, a lot of filler is not written well. I like the idea of filler in theory. Like, oh yeah, we can have some breathing room and maybe the characters can do stuff that isn't so action-packed and we can kind of like explore different dynamics. But so much filler is just not written well. Or it's just rehashing what the actual show is, but doing it badly. If One Piece had filler episodes where it was just like, I don't know, kind of slice of life on the Going Merry or stuff, I would watch that. I want filler stuff to be stuff you normally wouldn't see in the actual show. There's that famous like Dragon Ball episode where they do their driver's license test, and that's fun because you don't get to see that kind of stuff usually. So as long as it's written well and is presenting something that the show normally doesn't present, then I'd be interested. Otherwise, I can't really justify it. Like, it can be pretty annoying. 5 centimeters per second was better than Your Name. Oh boy. No way. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a huge Makoto Shinkai fan. Mainly his early stuff, for me, is very, like, it's just not my speed. Very slow, very, like, oh, so wistful and slow. It's not for me. I think 5 centimeters per second is a drag. And it felt like, I don't know, 5 centimeters per hour or something, you know? I think Your Name is fun. I don't think it's, like, an amazing film, but I do find it entertaining. I've only seen it, like, the one time. I liked Suzume. I think Suzume was probably my favorite of his stuff. And I actually liked Weathering With You. I feel like people kind of hated on that one, but I like that one. But no, 5 centimeters per second, God, I would never want to watch that again. Your Name, it's cute. I like it better. Kiki's Delivery Service's English opening credits song is better than the original Japanese. This is such a specific one, but I love the English opening song. I'm not going to say it's better. They're very different. I grew up listening to that version, that where it's like, I'm soaring. Like, it's such like a nice song. I don't know. And then there's that song at the end, the one day the whole world looked like an open page. Like, I love both songs a lot. And normally I wouldn't go, you should... Nowadays they wouldn't do this kind of thing. They would stick with original songs, which is, I think, the right thing to do. But something about that era, 90s, like growing up, listening to that, I don't know, I'm very fond of those songs. So, I don't know. And also, they played one of those songs in, like, the commercials, so it really got stuck in my head. So, I'm not going to say it's better, but I'm with you. I love those English songs, even though they're not accurate. 100 plus episode anime just aren't worth it no matter how good they are. They take too long to finish, and you can watch so many shorter anime in that time. I disagree. When you say you can watch so many shorter anime in that time, you're measuring value by, like, how many things you could watch. And to me, I can't agree with that. Because, yes, I like short shows because I also like to watch a lot of new things. But to say that a show is not worth it because you could watch more things in the interim, does not work for me. I think there are shows like Legend of the Galactic Heroes that are very long, but so rewarding. And something about when you have that many episodes, you can take your time to really dig into stuff, really, like, go on a journey with the characters. With that said, there are plenty of shows that don't need that many episodes and drag, but the ones that really are good, I don't know. It's a different vibe. It's a different vibe where when you have the time to spend with the characters longer and you can kind of pace it out better. Some of those shows are incredible. So I can't agree with you on this. For example, everyone goes, oh, I can't finish One Piece. But One Piece is not a race, right? Like, you don't need to finish One Piece fast. Like, or these long shows. You don't have to watch them quickly. Enjoy them. Like, take your time with them, you know? It is a journey. And so that when you get to the end, like, I've watched Legend of the Galactic Heroes 3 times. And that includes all the Gaiden. Like, for me, to go from beginning to end of that is such a satisfying, enriching journey that when I get to the end, I'm like, man, I really felt like I lived with those characters. So, I don't know. I love a long series if it is good enough to justify the length. Violet Evergarden's movie ending was trash and completely undid all the work the anime did to make the main character awesome. I'm not gonna say it's trash, but I know where you're coming from, and I agree with you in that I felt that I won't spoil the end of the movie, but there's something it reveals where you go, oh, what? I do agree that it kind of takes away from the character. Yeah, I hesitate to say something is trash because just because I don't necessarily agree with it doesn't mean it's trash. But it did make me go, oh, this is where we're gonna land on this. To me, it was not a satisfying conclusion for the character, especially the way they were kind of doing that character's journey. It really felt like, oh, what was the point? I can agree with you in that I don't agree with the direction of the ending. It was kind of lame. Yeah. I'll say that. Frieren is the least interesting character in her story, and I would rather the story follow any of the other characters. No, I disagree. I'm watching Frieren right now. I've read a lot of the manga, and I love Frieren so far. It's amazing. I think Frieren is a really endearing character. I mean, she's very quiet and very just introspective, but that to me is when she like opens up or like, acknowledges her emotions and things like that. To me, it has that much more impact, right? Like, when she gets emotional about Himmel, it really hits you because she's normally not that kind of character. For the character who's perceived as the robotic or the silent character, even little subtle bursts of, their feelings coming out have that much more impact. So, would I rather the story follow any of the other characters? No, and also, actually, that was one of my issues with the manga, is because I got pretty far and then it just started veering off to like other characters, and I was like, where's Frieren? I want this to be about Frieren. So I have the opposite problem where if it gets too far away from Frieren, I go, I want to see Frieren. This is Frieren. Give me back Frieren. So yeah, I think it's just a different taste in characters, but fun to watch her come out of her shell, and I don't know. I love that kind of character. So, all right, that was this round of hot takes. If you want me to do another video like this, let me know in the comments. And yeah, if you want to submit stuff for videos like this, patreon.com/ProZD. It's $1 a month. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.